Hello and welcome again to the Second Opinion Dentist, delivered by Program Dr. DDS, which means I'm a dentist. I hope you're fine, and let me just already now tell you I would like you to like and subscribe, and even more importantly, I would like you to share this so that we can spread out this message, as it is that, listen to the experts, but also listen to your own expertise, which would be your intuition and your common sense. It's not advisable to just lean back and say, well, they're the experts. So share this, and if you have any questions, do ask them, and on the website, which or even here in the comments, and I'll try and answer these questions. Today I want to talk about if the whole healthcare system is even worth the money. And I will do so by addressing the difference between root cause treatment and symptom treatment. Let me just explain first what I see in these. I also should explain to you that this is, of course, all my personal opinion and not to be considered medical advice. And it is my personal opinion. I don't know, it's been something that's been going on in my mind for most of my life, actually. It's this trust of experts. Root cause treatment means that you actually address the problem that gives rise to your symptoms. Symptom treatment is, of course, what it says, treatment of the symptoms only, without much, or if any, regard to what is actually causing these symptoms. Most of the time we go to the doctor because we feel we have symptoms, and we are quite happy if the doctor relieves of these symptoms, which opens up a road towards being satisfied with the symptom treatment. Which of course I'm not, because if you only treat the symptoms, there's a risk. Without treating the root cause, or if the root cause persists, there is of course a risk that the symptoms will come back. And that will be unsatisfactory, of course, for the patient. The question is if the doctor, maybe subconsciously or maybe not consciously at all, would just not want to spend the time that it takes to find the root cause. They are pushed, from, even if you are in the public sector, you're pushed because you need to turn over a certain number of patients, I'm sure. And if you are in the private sector, it's actually the same, pretty much. And maybe you're not even that interested in what you're doing. So, you want things to be done and finished, and if the symptoms are gone, everybody's happy. One example of such a thing is diabetes 2. A lot of healthcare providers, let's just call them that, will say that it is irreversible, because if you go back and eat the standard American diet, which is what most people eat, at least in the Western world, you will have diabetes 2 again. And that, of course, is an irrelevant argument, because it's the same as saying, we can't treat your broken leg because if you jump out the window, it'll break again. Yes, of course. But actually, if you treat your diabetes 2, that is my belief, with the root cause, which would be the diet and your lifestyle, you remove your insulin resistance, and of course you should not jump out the window again. You should understand that you have addressed the root cause of this particular disease. What they propose is that you eat medicine pretty much the rest of your life, and you have insulin pretty much the rest of your life, if that's what you need, to contain the symptoms, which of course is an expensive and also very lucrative approach to a disease. You can constantly feed the patients with medicine or other treatments, mostly medicine, and you have a job for the rest of your life. If you treat the root cause, you the chances are that you will not see this patient again. They may be very grateful and very happy about it, but they're not going to come back. I'm not saying that people deliberately have these thoughts when they treat a patient. I'm saying that there's no actually motivation to do this. It's not being paid for. It's a lot more work, at least in the beginning, when you find out what the root cause is. And there's not a lot of incitement to go this way. You have success if you treat the symptoms. The patient will love you. If you take away the symptoms, even if they have to eat a little bit of pill or 10 every day for the rest of their lives, they will feel, that you have helped them. So there's an immediate reward that you have done your job. Whereas, if you treat the root cause, they go away and they, in time, will forget about what you have done for them. Now they remember every time they take a pill that you have to do this, and then you feel good. I'm, of course, a proponent of root cause treatment, and this, also goes on in my world as a dentist. That, for instance, people say, well, if you just brush your teeth, you can eat all the sugar you want. A clean tooth doesn't have doesn't have cavities, which to some extent is true. But since sugar is not really good for you, for the rest of your body, the advice should be you need to change your diet. You need to change how often you eat. But that is again in a conflict with a big moneymaker, which would be food industry. If you only eat once a day, chances are you eat nothing more than you should, and that's going to be devastating to all this production that they have of what they call food, that you should eat 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day. So again, and people want to eat 5 times a day, and people want to eat sugar, and people don't want to change their habits or what they eat. So if you are a proponent of root cause treatment, you're really not interested in all this praise that there lies within the realm of symptom treatment. That's instant gratification. You take the pill, you're happy. But it's like if you step on a nail, I'm sure that if you dress the wound and if you perhaps give antibiotics or whatever you think you need and a painkiller, people are going to remember you as a hero. But what you should do is make sure that there's no nails running around in boards that you can step on. Or even better, maybe the patient should try and learn to look where they're going and be aware, have situational awareness. Don't jump out the window and break your leg again. It's laziness that makes people want to elect, I believe, experts that they listen to, because, if they don't ask you to do a lot of the work yourself, you are happy with them, right? So, nature seeks towards the lowest level of energy expenditure, and so do people. So if somebody says you just do this, it's very easy for you, you just have to remember to take this pill at this certain time of day, and you are not feeling any symptoms, then you are happy, of course. On the other hand, if somebody tells you you have to stop eating this and start eating that, or eating less often, or eating less food, you don't like that guy so much. And people often will say that, well, I'll go with the other one that actually just cured my symptoms, and without all the hard work. The thing is that with diabetes, there is a limit. First of all, it costs money. It costs a lot of money, all this medicine. You can ask Pfizer, and you can ask them how much money they made the last 2 years, from 2020 to 22. So they certainly have a motivation, but they're not the people they're not healthcare providers. But the healthcare provider probably is reluctant to go against the guidelines. That could cost them their career. That at least they have to put in a lot more work, because it's not just reading a paper that says if you do this and this and this, you have followed the guidelines and you are fine. Nobody can hurt you. I actually was at a lecture that when I was in the public sector, and the big pep talk was that if you just follow these guidelines, no matter what happens, no matter what you do, the whole system will back you up. I don't think that's what you want to hear as a patient. I think that you want to believe that the healthcare provider will do anything in his power to make you actually healthy. And if you ask people, would you like me to treat your symptoms, or would you like me to remove the reason that you get this disease? Most people would probably think logically and say, no, you need to remove the disease. And then the next step would be, well, what are you prepared to do? And if people say anything, well, then stop eating sugar, for instance. So you have to use your common sense and you have to ask the questions. But if I'm a healthcare provider and I just want to be the hero of your life, I say, no, I understand exactly what's wrong with you. You have pain in your foot, and now I remove the nail, which causes the pain. Well, you can discuss whether that's the reason, or whether the reason is that you have nails pointing up at all. Trust me, I've tried it, so I suggest you don't step on nails, actually. But you do the things and you tell the patient, if we do this, you don't get any inflammation, if we do this, you don't have pain. And you become the hero, right here, right now. It's much more difficult to teach a patient to look where they're going, or to teach a patient that, well, if you clean your immediate environment and don't have nails pointing up, you will not have this problem again. To teach people to take care of themselves. Dentists do that to a certain extent, that they actually do their utmost best to make themselves redundant. At least that's what they tell themselves, but would you really do that as a dentist if you had no patients? If you did such a good job that there was no patients at all, if you're a doctor and you did such a good job that you have eradicated disease, would you do it? Because you would have to find a new job, right? So these are the questions you should ask yourself, and you should definitely use your intuition and your common sense, and of course you should use your second opinion dentist or second opinion doctor or whatever. It is actually my ambition to make this, to hopefully make this someday that you can get a second opinion without changing your doctor or your dentist or your engineer or whatever it is. You just need a little bit of an answer. I was in a position where I desperately needed that once. It was with lawyers, but you don't go to a new lawyer because before they have even got a hold of the case, you have spent 50,000 crowns, right, or $5,000 very fast. So you don't do that. But if you could just have a second opinion, just send us an email, get a question answered, at least you are better dressed up to face your own lawyers, and you get another side of the story without the bias of having to make money from the case or from your health. So that's my ambition. That's why I tell you to share this and see where this goes and ask your questions. But make sure that you in the future get and receive a root cause treatment and not just symptom treatment. It is not easy, but common sense will get you there, I'm sure. Thank you for this time, and see you the next time. Bye bye.